Hey there, I'm Mr. Terry, a high school history teacher. Welcome back to another History Teacher Reacts video. All right, about a couple weeks ago, I reacted to Drew and Durnil for the first time, and that was a blast, and it got a lot of views, and it looked like a lot of you want me to react to more Drew stuff. So rather than just go to another memes video, I thought it would be cool to check out this video, and it is Drew's Greatest Empires tier list. Now, this is right up my alley. This is stuff I love talking about. World history is my thing, and I would love to see what Drew thinks about this. All right, the original video link is down below. Make sure you're supporting Drew. I know a lot of you do, but keep doing it. All right, let's check this out. All right, well, I'm expecting this tier list to match up exactly with what I think should be on this list. Otherwise, Drew and I are gonna have drama.
So I'm going to rank my favorite nations in history. We've got 33 massive empires. I'm going to put them on this tier list. By the way, if it wasn't obvious, this is just my opinion. Even though I'm going to say that, it's probably still going to piss a lot of people off. Every time I
If it's not exactly what I think, we're gonna have some drama, Drew.
do a video like this, it always makes a lot of people mad. But don't be afraid to smash like and tell me why I'm wrong in the comments. Let's get this first one straight out of the way. I'm sorry, but Rome has to go in the top tier. Ever since they came around, there's been countries cosplaying as Rome thousands of years later. And actually, a lot of those countries happen to be on this list. I mean, it just had such a massive impact on everything. Even when it's split apart into two different sides, they left their own impact. Took all these barbarians to take them down. Obviously, they weren't gonna last forever. And let's not forget, they had to defeat a pretty strong Carthage in the very beginning. It wasn't like they just came up out of nowhere and they weren't really tested. And I'm always shocked.
Nah, Carthage are descendants of the Phoenicians, man. They dominated the Mediterranean. Yeah, I mean, whether you love the Romans, a lot of people be like, I'm sick of hearing about Rome and all that stuff. I mean, you got it. If there's a tier list, they have to be at the top. Their influence is crazy. How many empires have tried to literally copy them by naming their leaders Caesar or Czar or something like that, or, you know, literally just LARPing with new empires that have tried to mimic them? I mean, this is easy. We don't have any drama yet, Drew.
Shocked just how far they managed to get cities. Like way deep into the Nile River in Egypt, and then all the way up here near Scotland. They were just slapping Roman settlements everywhere. Plus, they filled the entire Colosseum with water once and staged an epic sea battle. Honestly, probably just because they were bored. They had nothing better to do. So
yeah, well, they did that before. Yeah, before they installed the
an epic sea battle. Honestly, probably just because they,
which is the underground structure. Yeah, they had the Colosseum had aqueducts hooked up to it, so water could come in, water could come out. At the very least, I don't think these events happen that much, the water events, but they had like public restrooms and drinking fountains in there hooked up to the aqueducts. Absolutely insane.
They were bored. They had nothing better to do. So now that the Italian peninsula pretty much got,
well, gladiator games and stuff for free. It was to distract people from actually some of the horrible living conditions that lived in Rome. For people that lived in Rome.
The biggest dub of all. It's time to deal out some L's. And I'm sorry, Italian Empire. Someone's got to go at the bottom of this list. I can't just pretend like no one is going to go down here.
Drew ranks higher later in the video. Okay, that works. Yeah, dude, whatever that crap that Mussolini was trying to do was epic failure. Everybody point and laugh at fascist Italy, okay?
I don't think that they're a bad empire. I'm just saying compared to other people on the list.
They suck.
Yeah, I'm just sorry. I don't think people give them enough credit, though. I really think things could have turned out different in WW1 if they actually sided with the Central Powers. They were that coin toss that I think could have helped out a lot in Europe. Actually,
hey, how about the fact that the Italians failed to take Ethiopia first? And that was a big deal because Ethiopia was the only place in Africa that didn't get taken over by Europeans in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Literally, you can point and laugh at them. They do come back later under Mussolini, but bruh, come on.
I will probably change my mind about some of these when I have all of them on the tier list. So don't get mad until the end of the video. So this list only has the Russian Empire / Soviet Empire. I guess they are kind of the same. Yeah, we're gonna have to bring these guys up pretty high. They probably would have got that ultimate tier if the whole 1990s didn't happen. If the tearing down of the wall didn't happen in Berlin. Oh, I guess this is Russia.
Too high. They had problems from the get-go. Lack of industrialization, at least in the Russian Empire era. Soviet Union's, you know, had extensive use of some horrible rights violations, especially at the time. If you're talking like Stalin era, I know it's different for different eras and things like that too, but that's too high. Okay, even if it was Russian Empire itself, maybe that would be higher than Soviet Union, just because of the of how much expansion the Russian Empire did under like Peter the Great and Catherine the Great. But the Soviets, if you're gonna combine the two, yeah, probably not S for me.
Russia, it's not the USSR, because they would have had all like these puppet states in Eastern Europe.
Sure.
Russia's massive, and maybe I could have put them at that top spot if they didn't lose to Japan in the beginning of the 20th century.
I was gonna bring that up too. They lost multiple times.
It's not really the best look, but then again, everyone underestimated Japan. Still, they beat back so many others. It's crazy. Gotta put another one on the bottom. This time, it's Belgium. And honestly, is it really a surprise? I mean, again, just compared to everyone else on this list, they can't get like a top tier spot. Also, I can't really put you that high considering all the terrible things you did. I'm actually thinking about bumping up.
The atrocities happened there. Belgium was incredibly abusive, with King Leopold basically making his own estate where they exploited it for industrial resources and stuff like that. Horrible, horrible atrocities that have very much been swept under the rug. Please look into the genocides that happened in Belgium.
Italy, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's
Let's go with the
bottom tier,
Vikings.
no doubt.
Empire, the Viking Empire. I've never really thought of the Vikings as an empire, but I guess that works. The map that we're using in the tier list doesn't really do the Vikings justice, although maybe they're just talking about Norway. But this is the extent of Scandinavian settlement. They went everywhere, and they obviously left a huge impact.
That's just like a migration. You got to have at least something close to centralized rule, and the Vikings did not, so they really shouldn't be on the tier.
Especially here, and they found North America first. But most importantly, they pulled the greatest prank in human history, calling this Iceland and this Greenland. All right, let's just get this out of the way. Anime land, they're going up there.
Japanese
One of the only
Empire.
nations that said, hey, we could do what Europe does too, and they did. And it was
too
horrible.
high.
It always amazes me the battles they had.
Way too high too. And I know every one of these empires, the people hated being colonized by them, but holy cow, did people hate being colonized by the Japanese.
Against British Raj.
Yeah, that's
they
not
went
anything
so
different than
far over here. It's crazy.
The Chinese
if only
and
they
Southeast
didn't take
Asia.
that vacation to Hawaii, they might have still had all this. Plus, we talked about it before, earlier in the century. They got a pretty big dub over Russia. Let's not forget about that. One of the only.
But I mean, Japan too has prided themselves on internalizing them too. I feel like the height of really Japan was under the Tokugawa years, and they closed their borders down on people. So the actual imperial era Japan, no.
Nations I think definitely deserve to go in that top spot. Who's it going to be? Obviously the horse people. The Mongolians obviously didn't last as long as the Romans, but how could you say no to this? The world is just so lucky they never figured out the whole boat thing. If they figured out the boat thing and invaded Japan, I don't even want to think what could have happened. And they all did it so fast. It was like this nation just got like a huge buff in one update. Everyone else was nerfed. I think it's a good idea to now talk about a nation that kind of.
Yeah, Mongols absolutely top tier. They really usher in the modern era. I could speak forever about it, but yeah, absolutely S tier. Even just in the fact it's the largest land-based empire in history.
Have stopped Mongolia.
So we agree there,
stopped
Drew.
them at their borders. Poland-Lithuania. For me, I just love this big, chunky country. I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit biased. This is just one of my favorites. I don't know what else to say. They lost some battles here and there, and they got their land like chipped away, but pretty amazing what they were able to accomplish considering where they were. Here we go, the spiciest.
I mean, it's the height of that part of Europe, because not many times you have that kind of strength. I mean, so much of Poland, Lithuania, and stuff that gets talked about is, you know, being in the tug of war between Germany and Russia, and there you had the height of that whole region's history. That is cool. I think it's a mid at best, or sorry, mid at worst, mid B tier.
This
that's
nation
fair.
Of them all, the Dutch, they kind of had like a corporate empire nation
economic
too. Considering
empire.
their size, I just got to put them up high. I mean, they did all this, again, size, considering their size. Held down Indonesia for a very long time. Don't forget, they even had this too over here for
New
a little
Amsterdam,
bit. They were
aka New
homies
York.
with Japan, one of the only countries that were able to like trade with them for like those couple centuries. They deserve to go pretty high on the list.
Yeah, the Japanese didn't see the Dutch as exploitative as, say, the Portuguese or the Spanish before that. So they were the only people for a long time that was allowed any Europeans even to go into Japan. So this is what we call a trading post empire. So the Dutch, they didn't really rule much in the way of like the politics of land. They didn't like take over empires and stuff. They established trade port cities where they would, you know, affect the local politics, but it was all about trying to create a monopoly of trade. The Dutch don't have the military power to like take over large nation states, but nevertheless, they dominated the 1600s.
Did I put them at C?
Where did they put them? Mid tier?
I meant to put him at B.
Fair.
Okay, so we're putting in some work. Still have a little bit to go, though.
Fair.
This one is really tough. The British. I think I want S tier, but
Yeah,
I'm border here.
It's
I don't
gotta be
know. I
SS.
feel like this is just going to be a coin toss. Depends on how I'm feeling that day. They controlled a quarter of the world.
And by the way, this is no condone. I'm not condoning imperialism and all of this stuff necessarily. But when you're looking at impact and success, then you absolutely have to bring in the British with the Mongols and the Roman Empire. They're the biggest empire in history. They controlled at a time 25% of all the world population. Right, the sun never sets on the British Empire.
It's
all of these empires would be considered doing atrocities and all that stuff. So I'm just talking about it not from a were they good, they were cool, or like they were awesome, that kind of thing. No, it's about success and influence. That's at least how I'm approaching
hard
this.
to argue against that. They technically have the largest empire in history, 35 million kilometers, which does beat out the Mongolians by a lot. Yeah, this one's really a toss-up. Can I put it like in between? I feel like the Ottomans don't get enough credit. I realized that they were like, what do they call it? The crumbling man for a long time. Like they were around, but they were just
sick man of Europe.
Just slowly falling apart for like hundreds of years. But just
interestingly, because Ottoman Empire were on the cutting edge of technology as one of the first large states to extensively use gunpowder. It's how they destroyed the Byzantine Empire, took over Constantinople. But what's kind of interesting is their lack of industrialization and modernization is actually what did them in later. So it's like the early years they were on the cutting edge, but at the end they were very backward that way.
Look how far they got. If only they like got some colonies, they should have gone to Australia.
Even though they're Islamic, we're basically trying to like mimic the Roman Empire too. So like when they conquer, when you have like Mehmet the Conqueror, basically wanted to be the next Caesar.
Australia should have colonized Australia, man. Come on now. Spain definitely going in that A tier.
Where'd Ottoman Empire go? Okay. You know what? I would have put the Ottoman Empire at one tier higher.
Oh yeah, should have colonized Australia, man. Come on now.
Where'd they put him? He put him at B. I would have put him at A tier.
Going in that A tier. This map is misleading because you can't even see all their New World colonies. This is the areas of the world that at one time were territories of the Spanish monarchy or empire. Wow, when I look at this kind of thing, I should bump them up. This is crazy. Oh, this includes...
I mean, yes, the genocides and the slavery and everything was absolutely atrocious. But nevertheless, by influence, yeah, they have to be
Portugal
probably S.
Or the Iberian Union.
I would say
if only
S tier.
They stuck around, they kept this for a little bit longer. That probably doesn't sound right to South Americans. I'm just talking about this. Might as well do Portugal next. Again.
Wait, he put him...
South Americans. I'm just talking about this. Might as
well do... At? You put a B? See, I'd probably put him S. I mean, I already said it, but the British SS.
Portugal next. Yeah. Again, considering their size, they did pretty well. I always loved how they just
the
went all in on Brazil. They weren't really going to worry about other stuff. I mean, they got this stuff after WW1, but they just went all in right here. And then they kind of just dotted the rest of the coastlines around the world. I think I read that France...
Very similar to the Dutch. In fact, the Dutch are the ones who took over much of the Portuguese trading post empire, so... I would put them. He's putting a lot of B. I would put Portugal up to A.
Has the most military victories ever, which is depressing because, you know, everyone always makes fun of France. Or maybe it's by percentage or something like that.
French Empire.
Sure. There's so many different Frances to consider. Like, this isn't even like Napoleonic France when they went crazy.
I think comparatively speaking, I mean, yeah, but they never really administrated much of the central part of the Americas there. I mean, Napoleon wanted out immediately with the Americas, so
because they had all this too, and they eventually lost that. Then they got angry and started taking it out on all of Europe. It took all of Europe to take down Napoleonic France. Again, it's kind of a coin toss. I kind of want to put them in S tier. It depends on the day, but for aesthetic purposes, I need to make sure this tier list is like filled out proportionally.
A at best. In fact, when you look at their neighboring countries, they didn't accomplish as much.
Gotta love those big, sexy German Empire borders. Again, German Empire, different Germany. We'll get to the other Germany. They lost all this after the Great War, but just those European borders, kind of terrifying that they got all this so fast. Wait, what about the prequel to Germany?
Nah, they're like B.
The Holy Roman Empire. I don't know what to do with this one. I've been thinking about it. I don't know. It's a really weird one, honestly. I don't know. Such a confusing mess. Maybe
they're mid to lower. It's a fake empire, totally fake empire. They're LARPing as the Roman Empire. and never come close to
Just leave it
Yeah,
here.
They're
this
frauds.
looks sexy. This definitely looks pretty nice. But then when you dive deeper and you look at this,
Exactly.
which is what it really was,
The
we
mess.
just like simplify it. Oh, I don't even know what to say. I'm still confused what this even was. Now this says Austria-Hungary, but can we include
Lame.
the entire Empire of Austria?
D.
I guess it depends. It doesn't. I don't know what to do with it because is this just talking about? I don't know. The old Alabama of Europe. I didn't start that either. I heard that from I heard people were using that.
Fine.
That's because the Habsburgs. Just the Habsburgs,
Yeah, that's
I think.
fine.
I don't think
C's
there's other
fine.
reasons why this is called the Alabama of Europe. What do I do with the Qing dynasty? Because they're technically one of the biggest empires of all time, but they also like fell apart massively after the British sold them a little something something. The USA's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I would go higher than C though. Mid-tier.
Did we even have an empire? I don't really know what to do about this one because this
American
feels
Empire's lame.
weird. I mean, we had the Philippines and we had all these Pacific islands. We had a lot of friends. We had like a lot of soft power. Like we pretty much controlled it, but you know, not on paper. This one feels strange to me. I'm not sure.
I know,
Actually, a
huh?
lot of these ones are going to be tough now. Hey, yo,
It's not
Mali
A. It's lower than A.
was mega rich. They got to go up here just for being so rich.
Mali's
Mansa
sick.
Musa. He led the Empire
Let's
of Mali
go.
and
Mansa
is considered
Musa,
to be
the
the
goat.
wealthiest individual of the Middle Ages and of human history. This is because they taxed trade in and out of the empire along with all gold Mansa Musa had.
pretty much
So it
the
might not
world's
look like a
gold was coming
lot,
out of
but they
there.
had all the gold. The Abbasid Empire has to go.
Hold on. So Mali, like B tier. I'll take it. Didn't last long. I mean, after Mansa Musa died, it collapsed. Abbasid, I think, should be quite high. Probably
Pretty
A.
far up there. They're like a prequel, kind of a prequel to the Ottomans, very similar to the Ottomans. All right, let's just get this out of the way.
I'd go A. I'd go one higher. By the way, new Assassin's Creed coming out next year, right? With Abbasid Caliphate, Baghdad. Should be cool.
It's no Germany time. I mean, yeah, they got pretty
Wait, who?
big, but it was kind of short-lived. Like
Wait, who? Sorry.
the Ottomans, very similar to the Ottomans. All right, let's just get this out of the way. It's no Germany time. I mean, yeah, they got pretty big, but it was kind of
No.
short-lived.
True.
Like 6 years lived. I mean, I guess I'll put them above the German Empire, but they weren't able to keep this. This is obviously
They both
really
sucked.
way up to interpretation because it's hard to
Lower.
do this. How do you rank some of this stuff, honestly? Love
Yeah,
the
I know.
Aztecs.
I know exactly what Drew's saying because you don't want to condone anything these empires did.
Love what they did, but considering everyone else on the list, I kind of got to
No.
put them down here. Babylon Empire.
Drew.
Love what they did, but considering everyone else on the list, I kind of got to.
Drew. The greatest pre-Columbian empire in history. 30 million people. The city of Tenochtitlan, the most impressive city ever built in history. On an island in a lake with causeways and cool pyramid temples without the use of animals and metallurgy were able to completely dominate. They were huge. Dude, Aztec Empire is probably disease. That was it. That's the only thing, and they couldn't handle that. And that was not their fault.
Put them down here. Babylon Empire, again, one of the first to
That's
do
the
it.
biggest
I
beef
think
I've
I'm
had with him
obligated
so
to put
far.
them a little higher just for being so old.
Is it
Egypt,
wait, no,
one of the
Babylonian?
oldest countries.
Babylonian Empire is very important. They're higher than that. They're like B, because it is extremely hard to build an empire in the middle in Mesopotamia.
Countries around, they gotta go up pretty high. Byzantium is gonna be up in the B tier for Byzantium. Where else am I gonna put
Sorry,
them? They
dog is
are
going
B
ham
all the
and
way. There's gonna be so many Byzantium
on his
fanboys
toy
that
over here.
probably want me to put them up higher, but I'm sorry. What am I supposed to do with these older empires? It's really hard to like compare them to what we
Carthage
were
was
doing
alright.
before. The Mughals or the Muggles? Harry Potter people. I
Mughals.
like thick India. I don't even know what this map is at this point. Which one's Greek?
Wait,
Which
where do
one?
you put Mughals? I'd go A tier, one higher. Richest empire of the world at that time.
Harry Potter people. I liked thick India. I don't even know what this map is at this point. Which one's Greek? Which one's Persians? I'm assuming this is the Greeks. Oh, it's Persia. The Assyrian Empire can go B tier.
depends
The
if it
rest of
had
these
Greece
could
in
probably
it or
go
not.
B or C tier. There we go.
Okay, that was too quick. Let's see those.
Like I said, I already know you disagree. Tell me why in the comment section. This really depends on how I'm feeling this day. This is just how I'm feeling right now. I'm sure there's some things that could be said that would probably change my mind. I tried my best to account for how small the nation started or when the nation started. It gets
So are you putting? I couldn't see how far west some of them went. Like Alexander the Great, he has like in B tier. Persia should be up to S tier. Alexander the Great, probably one below that, just for the fact that it didn't administer. I'd put Persian Empire S. Alexander the Great's A. Probably at an A tier.
Kind of complicated though, because we're talking about like huge countries up here and then much smaller ones later in history. But who am I kidding? I basically just use my meme knowledge to rank all these. And thank you to the December patrons: Plebeian Tribune, Julius Caesar, Lenin.
Heck yeah. All right, final thoughts. All right, the list wasn't exactly the list I would have ranked. So I guess we got internet drama. Nah, I love Drew. I love Drew. Hopefully he can get back to this and comment on, I guess, on what I had thought. But I would love to hear what you all have to think about where Drew was putting stuff and then where I was putting stuff. Get it going down below. You create some evidence, bring up some evidence. And again, I kind of use the metric of influence and the challenge in creating such an empire. That's kind of what I had done. A lot of you may have a different criteria, but that's at least what I was doing. But nevertheless, love this. You guys want to see me cover more Drew material? Definitely know down below. Do you want me to check out more memes? Would you like me to check out this kind of stuff? Let me know, because I know there's a plethora of content out there. All right, and with that, we'll see y'all next time. Bye.